Sure seems like it. Really does.
Joe, take it. Joe. Joe Varn, the Athletic. So no Delhi again tonight?
No Delhi, no Rodney Hill tonight.
Yeah, I was wondering about Rodney because he only took one shot in the second half.
Yeah, he's experiencing soreness in his Achilles again, so we're going to hold him out.
What happened to Matt? Excuse me, Delhi. Nobody calls him that.
I can't remember which game it was. It was a couple of games ago. He tweaked his ankle, his foot. I saw it when he did it. I actually saw him when he did it, and he was limping a little bit. And he actually kept playing. But after the game, next morning, he was pretty sore. So he goes down.
Thank you.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Larry, is there something in particular that you're looking for from the team at the beginning of the game tonight that will let you know that the team meeting last night had the kind of effect that you wanted? Yeah,
it certainly is. After the meeting that we had after the game last night, we allowed those guys to voice their opinion about some things and some things that they felt was happening to us, particularly in the second half, start of the third quarter. I expect our guys to come out tonight and play with a grit, as they did that first half in last night's game. And I'm not going to dwell on it too much at halftime about getting off to a good start and playing, playing these, third and fourth quarter with some consistency. I think they're aware, that we've had our problems in the second half, and we were able certainly to point out some things that we felt were the reason for that. And I'm anxious to see how they will respond after last night's meeting, how they come out and play, not only at the start of the game, but the start of the second half.
Over the last 8 games during this losing skid, Colin Sexton is shooting about 30% from the field. What have you seen in the way that defenses have defended him that maybe is contributing to that low percentage?
I don't know. I don't know if it's what the defense is doing to them. I think it's more what Colin is kind of doing to himself. Mm-hmm. I think, and I've said it before, it's just not always about, coming out and having to make shots. Don't put the pressure on yourself of having to make shots, but do the other things that, that'll allow you to affect the game. Driving the basketball into the paint and always thinking finish. It can put you in a tough predicament, a tough situation. Because if guys know that you're constantly going to come to finish at the rim, they're going to continue to come for the block and challenge the shot. You have to show a patience. You have to show a willingness to drive it into the paint and make the kick out. And I think that's he's gotten better at that, but I think that's something he has to get. Yes, he has to get even more better at. I mean, it's a feel. It's a field that a lot of young guards. It takes him a little time to develop it, but once he really gets once he really gets comfortable with it, I think it'll make his shots a lot easier. I know with him, and he has shown great signs of improvement in that area, but it's just something that he has to continue to work on.
Larry, Steve Herrick from AP. How do you balance when you're talking to players and making points on where they can improve and get better, while also trying to be positive too in talking to them?
Well, I think the balance of it is first of all, whatever we feel or whatever I feel, the point that has to be made across, I show them on film first, so they can see, so they can get a true visual of what it is that I'm talking about. I know players. I mean, this is a tough league, and for young players, it just doesn't happen overnight, and it takes them a little time to get to get familiar with certain things, certain situations, and I try to I just try to reiterate as much as I can when those opportunities do come up, and I see that they're able to grasp what it is that I'm talking about. For example, with Colin, if he drives the basketball and I know how much he wants to get to the rim and try to finish, but when I see him make that kick out because the defense was pulled in, I pull him over to the bench and I let him know. Those are the plays you have to make, and just constant constant positive reinforcement is what I try to do. With all my guys, just to get them to understand that. I know sometimes they get tired of hearing me saying the same thing over again, but these are the things that we have to keep reminding them to do. At the same time, we have to stay positive with them because the one thing you don't want to do is for them to go into a little bit of a shell. But I just try to remind our guys, and I try to just stay on them and give them that positive reinforcement that they need. And it is a fine balance. It's a fine balance of when you're able to get those points across it, but at the same time, that there has to be some teaching done, and hopefully, those guys can pick it up.
Marla Ridenour, Akron Beacon Journal. You guys weren't a great defensive team even when you were going to the finals. Are some of these issues the same, or I know you don't have a whole lot of same guys, but are you being dogged by some of the same old problems?
Defensive problems usually they usually mount up to being kind of the same. Things that you talk about from a defensive standpoint, transition defense, being able to control the basketball on the dribble, helping recoveries and closeouts, and all the things that normally burden a team. We're faced with the same things, and we had these problems, as you mentioned. We had these problems in the past. Yes, we do have a different cast of players, and certainly we have to continue to work on those things to try to get better at. But it's unfortunate that it's just the way it is, and a lot of teams have these same problems. You just have to continue to work on them. You have to continue to get better at. And with our group, we have to continue to show them on film so they can see exactly what we're talking about.
Greg Swartz, Bleacher Report. Coach, the last time we saw a player putting up 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists in a game was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and that's what Anthony Davis is doing this year. Where do you even start when you game plan for somebody like him?
Well, first of all, he is a special player, without a doubt. We know every night, playing against a guy, and we don't play against a guy with those type numbers every night, but playing against a guy like that, it's the job of the team to try and, first of all, you're not going to totally stop him. You just have to make it tough for him. Try to put him in situations to where it won't be as easy. Davis is as I mentioned, he's a very special player. He can do it from the outside. He can do it inside. He's just one of those guys that just has he has a unique talent. And going into the games night, we will try to just make it as tough as we can for him. Just try to get him out of his comfort zone, try to get him off of his sweet spot, and just try to make it as difficult as we can for him. But it's going to take a total team effort. Not one guy's going to stop him because he's just too good.
Jen Hale from Fox Sports New Orleans. Elfrid Payton has been slowly working his way back into the Pelicans' rotation. This will be his 4th game back. How do you see him affecting that team, changing things for them?
Well, first of all, he is he's a point guard with size, and I just from watching him from afar in his days down in Orlando, I know all the things were made about him and not being a perimeter shooter. But one thing that I will say about that young man and watching him play is he's found his niche. He's found his niche as a point guard. He's a terrific passer. He gets to the basket. He's an offensive rebounder. So he does a lot of the other little things that can impact the game. And he has improved his perimeter shot. I've always liked him from afar, just in playing against him and just knowing his style and the type of player that he is, because You know, he has size and he's a good defender. And it's you know, when you can get a point guard, you know, with that type size and able to defend, you can move him around different spots and you can use their versatility. But I just think he is really, think he's coming to his own, and I thought he's done a great job for New Orleans.